Hello everyone, welcome to my final video on investment appraisal. In this video I'm going to be looking a little bit more at net present value. I'm going to use it to compare two investment projects where the cash flows are coming in at different times, and this will kind of show you why net present value is so useful. To recap, net present value calculates the monetary value now of a project's future cash flows. So bearing in mind that in the future, money, because of the opportunity cost of putting money in the bank and the interest rate, is perceived to be worth less than money in the present, future cash flows will lose their value, or they will be worth less to the business than those in the present. So yeah, we've got two projects laid out here. We've got Project Z, Project Y, and on here we've got the Y, which is the years, the net cash flow, not the cumulative cash flow. It's really important that we make sure that we're using the net cash flow for our net present value. I know the average rate of return and the payback period use the cumulative cash flow mainly, but the net cash flow is what we need for the net present value. The discount factor, which I looked at how that's calculated and where that comes from in my previous video. And we've left a column here for the discounted cash flow and space for our net present value at the end. Okay, so we've got two projects here, and they're both worth, the initial investment is £250,000, as you can see, for both projects. So same initial investment. And we've got our discount factors here accordingly. So as per what Edexcel provides, we've already got these provided for us. We don't have to calculate them. And if you look at our net cash flows, we have the same monetary or value or nominal value of these cash flows, just that they're coming in different years. As you can see, in year one, Project Z, we've got £50,000. Project Y has £50,000 in year three. Yeah, they both have £100,000 in year two, and the £200,000 for Project Z comes in year three, and £200,000 comes in year one for Project Y. Now these cash inflows, although they've got the same nominal value, because they're coming at different times, they will end up having different values to the business in terms of the net present value. So we're going to demonstrate this numerically by calculating these accordingly. So £250,000 times our discount factor of 1 will still be £250,000. £50,000 multiplied by our discount factor of 0.91 would give us 45,500. So positive. £100,000 times 0.83 would give us £83,000. And then £200,000 times 0.75 would give us £150,000. And if we add all of these up to get our net present value, we should have 28,500. Okay, so that's Project Z after we've multiplied out our discount factors and our net cash flow. Let's have a look at Project Y. So, same as last time, 1 times £250,000 should be negative £250,000. 0.91 times £200,000 gives us £182,000. £100,000 times 0.83 also gives us £83,000. And £50,000 times 0.75 gives us £37,500. And if we add all of these up, we get a net present value of £52,500. Now, these projects have the same net cash flows. They're coming in at different years, but the same numerical nominal monetary values are the same. They're both they're both paying out £250,000, and they're both receiving £350,000 over the lifetime of the project. But because the higher cash flows are coming earlier with Project Y, and they have lower discount factors, so the bearing in mind that the higher values are coming in when the discount factor is less significant. I mean, so because of that, our net present value is much higher with Project Y. So we consider Project Y to be much more a much more profitable investment for this business. So that demonstrates the fact that cash flows that happen earlier in the project are of greater value than later on, and it can mean that you have a much higher net present value as a result. I'm also going to take this opportunity to look at some of the positives and the negatives of using the net present value as a means of investment appraisal. So in terms of the positives, it takes into account the opportunity cost of money. So it takes into account the opportunity cost of money in the bank. So the payback period and the average rate of return don't take into account the fact that there is an opportunity cost for that money. Only the net present value does that. It also takes into account cash flow timings. So the average rate of return doesn't take into account the fact that money has a greater value earlier in the project. So that's something to be wary of. However, there are some downsides to using the net present value. So it is complex and difficult to calculate and communicate. So in terms of a business situation, on a small scale business, perhaps you don't have people with MBAs and things like that. It can be very difficult to calculate the what this actually means. And so it might be less useful in some business circumstances. And it's only really useful for comparing projects of the same initial value. So if you've got different initial values, it's not really a fair comparison of that accordingly. Perhaps the payback period or the average rate of return is a better way of assessing how useful that is for the business. Anyway, I hope this has helped with your understanding of net present value. Good times.